This is Aaron Sherm from Meristem. We're trying something a little new that I'm excited about to really kick off in the new year. So bear with us as we get started on our recording and videoing process. So hopefully we'll continue to learn and make these look better. But this is our first go, and we're really excited. So as I said, I'm Aaron Sherm, the Executive Director at Meristem. Meristem is a program that supports young adults on the autism spectrum, and we help them develop greater independence. We do that through 5 pillars: life skills, land, craft, movement, self-leadership. And through that process, we go through something called re-stepping, which is taking somebody back to a place of development that they might have missed or where they got stuck, breaking out of that, and then helping them move forward in healthy development, where greater executive functioning comes in, which leads to greater independence. But one of the ways in which we do this is through our own self-development. We believe as an organization that I, as the executive director, an instructor, a director, we need to do the work. We need to make sure we're growing ourselves in order to model asking our clients and our students to make those changes for themselves. And this is to us a fundamental thing that we want to adjust as a social attitude. And so I send out a weekly Monday email, which is a simple kind of inner practice that you can work on through the course of the week. And we do this each week, something to reflect on. And so this video is kind of an introductory video to what I hope will be every Monday an email for a self-practice. And we would love, if you're interested, for you to join in the exercises that we do, because we believe that more people doing self-work is actually the medicine that we need for social change. Rather than looking outside of myself and saying something else needs to change, I do the opposite. I look inside myself and say, what can I change? And through that practice, I make the shifts, the environment that I engage with shifts, and we come into a new social, healthy relationship with everything around us. So at Meristem, we have a slogan and we have a practice. Our slogan is Awaken the Possible. And we love this because we're not trying to work miracles. We're just trying to take one next step forward of the things that we can do to make change. And the practice is, it starts with me, meaning I have to take those steps for myself. By me taking those steps, I open the door for somebody else to see and model that, and that draws somebody else into taking the steps for themselves. So we go through 3 steps in our weekly practice. We do a concept, so anything conceptual that we can understand, that's something interesting to ponder over the course of the week. It could be, how do I more effectively engage socially? Or, I love Conscious Leadership Group, shout out to them. They have a number of practices like above and below the line. How do I track myself and my emotional self and my mental self throughout the course of the day? This is a concept. Then we go to a practice. At Meristem, we have 4 practices: presence, communication, research, and creative thinking. Each one of these builds off each other. Presence is the practice of being both awake to my inner self and awake to what's going on around me. So ideally, I do both. Sometimes it's hard to do both. For example, I might be thinking about what's happening at home inside myself while I'm at work, and I'd say Aaron's not inwardly present at work, even though his body and his habit actions might be performing work duties. The goal would be that I'm 100% inwardly with who I'm with at that time at work, while also being conscious outwardly. I could also be 100% with somebody, but my body outwardly is not present. So presence is going for both. Once I have presence, then I can more effectively communicate. If I don't have presence, I'm likely to miss or assume what somebody else is saying. From communication, we go to research. So let's say out of an exchange, something comes up that didn't connect or didn't make sense, or we had a little bit of a rub. I engage curiosity to try to understand that more through asking questions, through going back and reading, through diving into it with the person who I was engaged with, so that I can understand more. And then the last step is, hey, if something didn't work, what's a different way that I could come at that will have a lasting positive shift for me and the person that I'm engaged with, or the content, or whatever the other thing is, or the community. So these are our 4 practices. So we take a concept and we put the concept into a practice. The third step is Meristem has 6 values. And this is a way, both in practice and in values, that if you wanted to do this exercise, you could do it in your own organization with your own practices and your own values. These 3 steps can work for anything. But let's say Meristem has 6 values. The first one is I show up. That means I'm here. Basically presence, but it's a fact, it's not a practice. Practice is kind of back and forth. Value is that's what I just do. And we link that with dignity. I have the dignity for myself to show up. If I don't show up, I'm not really modeling dignity, and I'm not reciprocating that by showing what I value in dignity. I want to learn is number 2, individual potential. What do I have? What's in me that could come out? And I continue to strive for that through the learning process. And I always keep curiosity and interest in wanting to learn more as a practice or as a value. Like it's something we just do, we don't question it. I communicate and communication. So 1, it's integral that I do the activity. It's my job to communicate when something's coming up between me or another, or all the things that come up around communication. And communication as a thing is really important. Number 4, I learn from my environment, the natural world. The natural world provides some of the best data, the best information. And it's my job to read the information around me and make tangible changes or wonder or get curious to learn and to understand so that I can be better, which ties back into some of these other values. Number 5, I am the change I wish to see. Collaboration. Now that might seem a little bit kind of counterintuitive, but I am the change I wish to see, which means if I want to see something different, I do what I need to do to make the change. I don't say you should change because that thing's not working. I say I'm going to make a change and see if that helps something new happen. But you can't really do that without collaborating with another person. And so making the change is really important in the collaboration of what's going on around you. And the last one is I am the catalyst for my own growth. Growth's not going to happen unless I intrinsically make it a priority. And that's next to freedom. I can always choose to not want to grow, or I can choose to grow, and that's your choice. But this is why it's a value down here. So again, our practice is come up with a concept, put it into a practice, one of these 4, and link it up with a value. And this way, you're kind of testing it through 3 layers. The theory is that as human beings, we have a head, we think with our head, we have a heart, we feel with our heart, and we have a will, metabolic, we do. And so we link the human body up to the process. So this is not just a head activity. This is an activity that engages the whole body. So the concept is a thinking activity. The practice, which is a back and forth, is a heart activity. And the value, which is me doing something, showing up as is a willing activity. And so it's important when you do the practice, when you do the exercise, that you're thinking about these different parts of your body and how you show up. And so what a typical Monday email is going to look like is a concept, a practice, and a value. And we'll be kicking these off in January for our Monday email, but we're going into the holidays and we thought we'd give you something to sink your teeth into if you like. And so the holidays, particularly around this time of year, the winter solstice, is a time where we kind of go into ourselves and we get a chance to reflect on the year and come into the new year with some new thoughts. Kind of like setting a New Year's resolution or making a goal for the next year to come. And so the concept would be self-reflection. And one thing that's kind of fun is look at the meaning of the word self-reflection from a concept standpoint. And in the old historical version, it means a part or own. Own person, core being, identity. So something, self is the word we're looking at. Self is apart from other. It's the thing that you have. It's your own person. It's something that's internally, something that's your identity. Reflection is to bend back or turn away. So from the thing that it hits or the thing that's away from you, it comes back towards you. So it throws back contemplation, etc. So the activity of self-reflection is to keep apart the inner part of yourself, separate from the rest of the world, and kick back from outside of yourself the feedback that comes in from what you've put out into the world over the course of the year. We take that to presence, which will be the practice for this exercise. So first I have to touch in with my inner self and my outer self, which is the practice of presence. So I take that concept and say I have to connect inwardly and outwardly for this practice to work. Then I say, look backwards towards myself. Identify the actions taken, feelings felt, thought had, and their impact over the year on others. Become present with yourself. Reflect backwards on the year. See if you can put yourself back in key moments and notice what comes up. So the practice is remembering, and you go back to certain moments that come up in your reflection and you see if you can live in that, and in living in that you see what comes back towards you and what feeling arises, what thought arises, what type of action you took in that given moment. That's collecting the information, and to get that information you have to be present with what comes towards you. We then take the value, I am the change I wish to see, collaboration. So now we've collected data through our presence with ourselves and reflecting the year. And then we ask ourselves a few questions based on this value. What would you keep from the year of reflection? What was something that you did really well that brought up positive thinking, feeling, and actions that was effective, and keep that? What would you change? So what was something that you realized as you were re-experiencing it that you would want to change, or you'd want to do that differently if that moment reoccurred? And finally, what do you need to sustain and change? So to keep something going that worked, you got to sustain it. And that takes some resources. To change something, you have to put input into yourself resources so that you can make the change. And it takes energy to change, both of those. And so reflect on, what are you going to need to accomplish what you want to accomplish? And so that's a little bit of an exercise you can do in this holiday time that you can join in the Meristem practice. And you work through those three. And then each week we work on a different practice, so we can go all the way back to here. And on the next week, you might do something that's focused on communication. Maybe you take the same concept, self-reflection, and communicate about what came up for you. And then research, etc., etc. And so we're excited to start launching these videos. We're excited for you to join. Again, we believe that lasting social change is going to take an individual effort from all of us to choose to change myself and to model that back out into the world. And if we're able to do that, I think a lot of good is going to happen. And as we say at Meristem, don't shoot for the moon, just awaken the possible. It starts with me. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Looking forward to providing more content. Have a great holiday.